All right. Craig in Sacramento. That was good, right? Shooting through. Craig, hi.
Hi there, Eric and Drew.
Hey.
Hello.
This was kind of funny. You're early in the call. If the evangelical Christians are right, is Dane Cook the Antichrist and Nickelback the four horsemen of the apocalypse?
Oh, man, I would never want to give Nickelback that much credit for anything.
You haven't been on a road trip with Megan Bonner.
Oh, no. I like Megan right now. Don't change that.
Nickelback.
Oh, no.
I love you, Megan. All right. All right. What did you actually want to talk about? What's up?
I just was seeing an article about the Uyghurs being forced to eat and drink during Ramadan. And I'm not going to go into, like, under communist regimes, why that's the problem on there. But if, as time goes on, religion starts to fade and secularism and atheism starts really climbing throughout the world, how do you think we will prevent our majority, when we get there, from being that type of repressive aspect? Because I know I would assume that you agree that we are irrational beings that can reason. And if we replace religion with something else that's irrational, that even though it's secular and atheistic, it could still cause the same problems as religion does.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that the leaps forward in peacefulness, like in world peace and just overall well-being, doesn't have so much to do with people being, like, not necessarily, like, I don't think it's a result of people being atheistic necessarily. I think that being atheistic or being secular is a result of wealth, prosperity, and education. And so I would say that if we are coupling secularism along with that wealth, prosperity, and education, then I think that that's essentially the built-in way to spread skepticism, spread secularism without having to worry quite as much about being this majority that ends up being just as dehumanizing to minorities as religious majorities are. Like, I don't think that communist regimes that basically enforce atheism, they don't, like, spread some kind of skepticism. Like, they enforce atheism without providing any kind of resources. They're not educating people to the point where they become atheists. They're just saying, there's no God, shut the fuck up. You like, that's not how to do it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
The communists aren't really the issue on this. It's more of, because we are irrational beings, we will probably replace religion, even if we move further and further away from superstition, with something that is also irrational.
Yeah, that's where you practice humanism.
Are not right, and I agree with that. I just hope there are ways that we can prevent that from happening, because I do see reactions to posts saying, let's destroy all religion, it's good this is happening, and I don't really, that's the worst way to respond to something like that that's going on in China. We have to say that basically people can believe whatever they want as long as it's not affecting everyone else. You can have a faith in whatever God you want, just as long as you're not imposing that on everyone else. And when we start winning more, we already are winning, but as time goes on, I'd say it's like a few centuries before religion will actually fade away. We'd have like 6,000 years of religion being around to basically overcome on that. And it's just making it so we lay the track that morality and ethics, secular ethics, is going to continue on is the whole point.
Agreed. I think that's well said. Was there anything that you would?
The thing I would disagree with, on? Like, I agree with a lot of that. I would disagree that, first of all, that we've seen 6,000 years of religion. I think that we've seen, how old's our species? About that long?
Yeah.
Of religion. I don't think religion's going to go away. I don't think it's ever going away.
And absolutely. You're right.
Yeah. I think it's something that is, it's not just some kind of weird byproduct. I think it's something that's basically built into us. Like, I would agree with you that we're irrational beings that are capable of rationality. Now, essentially, it's fighting off the worst parts of our own nature is what's going to help us make progress. I don't think we're ever going to be, if humans are not religious, I think that basically would end up making us count as a different species at that point. Like, we would have to evolve, like psychologically evolve in some kind of unimaginable way to be beyond religiosity coming naturally to the vast majority of people. And so if people ask me, are people ever going to stop being religious? I'm like, well, not human beings, not Homo sapiens. It's going to be something else. But yes, I think
Hopefully
that
we don't go to idiocracy.
right. But I think that we have quite an upward tick of progress. I mean, if you read like Enlightenment Now, if you read anything or watch any lectures from Steven Pinker, it's very encouraging.
Right.
And
I was going to bring him up.
Yeah, and you see secularism being a large part of the success of societies. So I think that we're kind of on a slow grind up toward perfecting ourselves, although I don't think that we're ever going to get there exactly. Now, it is maybe frightening, I would say, that we are going to end up not having the religions that we have now, and they will likely be replaced with something else. Now, would we call that religion by our definition that we use like colloquially now? Maybe, maybe not. Like Durkheimian definition, like the Durkheimian definition of religion, that's just never going away.
I've got to tell you, as you were talking about it, Drew, you were saying, well, wealth, prosperity, education, leads away from that. And all I'm thinking is we're going on a road trip to Sedona. If you want to talk about it.
New Age time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm seeing Hail Satan today. Woo.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the fact that you can get wealth, prosperity, and education does not necessarily mean that you're going to get rid of, that specifically. But I do see a correlation. I just don't know if I'd plug causation to it.
I don't think that human beings are ever going to get away from their desire to basically rape, murder, and steal. However, we can set up institutions that make it to where raping, murdering, and stealing barely ever happen. And we've seen that actually work. We can stave off our own nature with other parts of our nature that are actually to be encouraged for our own well-being. That's the path I want to go down. Not like, oh, just make it to where no one believes in religion anymore. Everything will be fine.
Right. Well, it fades away from a fanaticism into more of a moderate thing. It's basically people believing in a God, maybe, but not a specific ideology or dogma.
There are steps toward what I would call progress, and that may very well be one of them, yeah.
All right, Craig.
Thanks.
Thank you, man. Take care.
Fun call. I love talking about that stuff.
Holy crap. I am so proud that you're a friend of mine. My goodness, you are fucking brilliant.
Oh.
I
talk about that stuff a lot with my polytheist pagan friend, Ocean, which I'm sure people know. I mean, he was on here, right? He popped on here for a couple of minutes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Ago, so
actually, so the people I'm going to talk to in the when I go to Tennessee appear to be presuppositional apologists. And so I called Ocean. I was like, Ocean, I need your help. And he just kind of had this response like, I've been training for this day.
Oh my God.
I'm ready. So it was good.
If I ever act that way, know that I need to be put on medication because that's not me.